In this next one, we're going to do problem 6.3, which is event cover. So let's start that one off. Now, I wonder what units we're going to use here. It looks like it's going to use inches. So let's go up here to English, like so. And here we're going to get experience with the ellipse tool, starting a two-dimensional sketch and going over here to the sketch tool. There's the ellipse. And we might as well assume, I guess, you can either say it's on the floor or maybe a vent on the wall. So I'm going to put it on the vertical wall. And then here is the center of the ellipse. There's one edge of the ellipse, and then there's the other one. Looking at the dimensions from end to end, it's going to be 8 inches. So from there over to there, looks like it didn't realize what I was trying to say. So I'll try that again. From this point to that point, looks like it's trying to do, yeah, it's trying to do something different. So what you can do in that case, it's actually trying to give, two different radii is what it's trying to do. Um, I suppose you can do that, but we really want this to make it, make it look like this. And so when those kind of things happen, I just go back to the fallback, and that is to make a construction line that you can measure vertically to show that that's going to be 5 and the other one is going to be 8. All right, and then zoom back, and then we're going to make another for the longer axis called the major axis. So this vertical one is called the minor axis. Right there, we're drawing the major one now, making it a construction line. Let's pull this off to the side, just like we have it in our sketch. And follow the standards that they're using in their diagram by setting the units to be 2 places past the decimal. Then we can do the vertical dimension and make that one 8. Now you can see that you do have control over that now. What it was trying to do is go from the middle out to the edge, or the top edge, or middle out to the bottom edge, which is normally how you would measure, let's say, the semi-major axis of an ellipse. But if we were to match up with our diagram, we have to kind of come up with ways of doing that. So it's got some hexagons over here. So we will start with a polygon and put its center like so, and then making sure that this axis is horizontal like that. Put a lot of symmetry in there automatically for some reason. And we can make another one on the other side. Maybe using symmetry might do it. So we'll make these over here as well using symmetry. Let's put a circle in the center and make that be a diameter of 1.5 inches. And the size of this one is going to be 1 inch from top to bottom. So from that point to that point, coming off to the side, 1 inch. Its placement relative to the center is going to be 3 inches. So you see our systematic approach here is to try to get that one fully defined. And I'm kind of wondering why it's so purple. And most likely it is that this right here, you can rotate that. To verify that, you can hit escape a couple of times and then go show all degrees of freedom. And you can see this one is just, it thinks it can move anywhere. And also it looks like this middle can be moved anywhere as well. So then we can try to say that number one, this middle point right here, it needs to be fixed. But that's not making a difference on that one. Or it looks like actually I clicked on the ellipse and made it fixed, and then that made the hexagon fix as well. At this point, we could go ahead and make a symmetry mirror object of these object we want to select is this one. I wonder if we select there, will it do it? I don't know. Looks like you got to do each of those lines, which is unfortunate. Maybe another way to do it is to select them using the click and drag approach. So like this, and then say that we want to mirror this about the vertical line. And then we want to apply it. And now we have the identical shape over there. We're going to do the same thing with these as well. We'll mirror it this way and then up and down, and then we'll mirror it left and right as well. This is an unusual tool we haven't really used before. It looks like it's a 3 slot point like this, Or we can say it looks like it's going to go up and then over here and then over there. Now that looks odd. So I obviously did not do that one correct. Let's see what the instructions say. It does say 3-point arc. Maybe I wasn't looking at this and I selected that one by mistake. So to practice this, we could say go up and then down and then over. And it still looks like it's trying to do this incorrectly to me. So there is one other possibility about this shape, and that is that you're doing the outsides and then the insides first. Normally what will happen is you'll see little numbers in there to see what order you're doing it in. Oh, there's the help tool. And you can see that that is exactly what it's doing. It does the two ends and then the middle one after that. We can also use this approach as well. I think I will use this approach just because I can see that down here. So looking at the order of operations of this one, if we hover over it and wait, you can see it's uh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, what is that trying to do? Okay, so I think maybe it's finding the radius. It's not really clear what that is. So let's just practice off to the side and see which one that is. It does look like that is going to be the radius. And then you click from here over to there. And then finally you make the hot dog. Okay. So that's kind of close. So we can use either one of these tools, it looks like. We will start with this one. And we know that needs to be here. It needs to come down to this area. Perfect. Up and down. Try to get that 9 degrees. This looks like it wants to do that. So we'll have to make that vertical in a moment. And then going across to here and then open it up a little bit. We got a lot of work to do when getting this right. We can start with the radius and make it 0.75. So from right there, we need this to be 0.75 on the radius. Now the size of this needs to be, well, let's see, the radius of the end of that slot needs to be 1/4 of an inch. So we're still on the dimension tool, zero in on this right there, 0.25. It's looking closer, but it's not properly placed. So if we look at the origin, it needs to be 1 inch from the origin. So we'll do that next here and there. Let's make sure that says 1 inch. It probably needs to be 1 inch down as well. Let's see. Going from here up to there, it looks like it's a 3/4 of an inch instead. So from there to there, make sure it's 0.75. Do we have everything specified? I don't think that we really convinced ourselves that that was vertical. We couldn't get that 9 degrees in there. So what we could do then is, let's see if there's anything else in here. Oh, it says 1/4 inch from the bottom. What is that 1/4 inch to here? Got to zero in on that a bit. And you begin to see after closer inspection that this is really a straight line before you hit the arc here. That straight line from here to here has a distance of 1/4 of an inch. So it's not going to be the slot tool after all. So let's hit Control Z on this one, remove all of that stuff, and start over with at least some kind of point out there in space that we could use. Or we could just draw a line that makes that L shape, like so. That needs to be vertical. Okay, let's see, vertical. And this one should be horizontal here. Looks like it already is. Okay, so what needs to happen here is that this radius of curvature in here, before we start to make this wrap around the outside, this middle has to have a radius of curvature of 0.75. So we get out the fillet tool and we say we want that one right there to have a radius of 0.75. Now it's not properly placed in space, so we need to get that working. So let's get let's start working on the center point. We said this one right here was going to be 0.75. And the distance from here over to there is going to be 1 inch. Now the distances that are missing is the length of this right here. That's the one we said was 1/4 of an inch. So look at that right there, 1/4 of an inch, 0.25. And then we better hope that that's not on the line. We can remove it if it is. We need to make this 0.25. And it looked like it worked with us here. So if you start cleaning this up, getting it more clear about what we're doing by doing these 1/4 of an inches, and we have it fully constrained, let's get this unit all the way back in here a little bit closer. Now we're ready to make that shape that goes around it. You might say, we'll just use a slot tool. But in this case, I'm pretty sure that what we're going to use is a offset tool, which is something they discuss in this chapter. Now, what we want to do, I think beforehand, is to turn all of these into construction lines because it's not going to be part of the parts. It's just going to be for construction purposes only. All right, so then we're going to use this offset tool, and we're going to say we want this whole body, and oh wait, that's not it. We want to really go all the way around it. That might work a little bit, but we'd have to go in both directions. We could try that, I suppose. The distance we want to go is 0.25 this way, and then we want to go 2.5 this way. That's one way to achieve it. But then did we achieve our goal? I mean, the center right there, yeah, looks like we did achieve our goal perhaps. And the arc needs to start right here at the 0.25 away from where the arc finishes and starts here and goes over that direction. And we're going to do the same thing over here with the arc, finishing off our hot dog. And I'm kind of wondering what it is that's unknown about that. My guess is that it's going to be, we need to convince it that these two things are the tangent to each other. So let's see if that's the case. Make that tangent. That was what it needed. And there we go. Fully defined, fully constrained part. It took a little bit of effort, right? So it looks like it at first glance that it was just a slot, but in this case, we have to use the offset tool twice and put arcs on the end. And you don't really want to do that 4 times. So you try to select it like this, and then maybe control click to get to not to select those. Didn't really want to do that. And we want to mirror that sketch. So let's see if we can do that while we're in the sketch mode. And it goes, well, what do you want to select? It's this object. What's the mirror line? This one right here. And I guess we could just say apply at that point, and we've got our other piece up there. Now what we want to do is just basically do it again. And this time, maybe we select the whole thing like this. Just being careful not to select that inner circle because there's no reason to duplicate that one. This time the mirror needs to be about the vertical, and trust that it's going to make the right shape when you go forward. Then say done, and look at that. We have a fully constrained part. We can extrude it. Perhaps maybe as a standard approach, we can always try to do it both ways at a full distance of 0.125. So a little bit one way and a little bit the other way until it's 0.125. And there we have a beautiful looking vent cover. How about that? Is there anything else we need to add to this? I think that's it. So we learned a lot about the offset tool and basically trying to come up with clear constraints. And what you got to do is just move forward, even though you're not really sure how to begin or how to end. You just try some things and then control Z your way back to a starting point if you find you're going in the wrong direction. All right, I'll see you in the next video.